in most of our writings, when we look for comparisons and examples, we usually go to cricket. For someone like me and my family, we have two loves, sport, starting with cricket, and second, animals, starting with dogs. So let me start with dogs. And it's a true story about three dogs that we used to have. They were never put on a leash inside the house. They owned the house. So for them, being put on the leash was a very exciting thing to happen. It used to happen twice a day, which means if you only let the chains those days, we didn't quite get nice, dainty sort of leather leashes, jangle a bit, all three would come running because they figured it was time to go for a walk. And that was a routine for many years. Then one day in Delhi, we moved into a ground floor house. So we had a gate and a driveway. And I said, let me check something out. Let's open the gates and say, let's go for a walk. So we opened the gates and said, let's go for a walk. All three would not cross the gate because they wanted the chains. They were scared of going out without the leash because they got so used to it. Some of what's happening in our media, including this session, reminds me of that story because I think we are behaving like those dogs. I think we've got freedom and we don't know how to deal with it. We are scared of our freedom. So we are saying, come regulate me. Somebody will regulate me. What kind of regulation? The government will pass a law. This is the weakest government in India's history. This is the most non-functional parliament in India's history. They cannot pass a right to food law. You see any conceivable chance of this parliament being able to pass a law regulating the media? They can go to hell. I will commit self-immolation and many will join me if they pass a law like that. I think I'm finding Indian journalists to be at their weakest ever. They are afraid of their own shadows. They are bloody ridiculous. I'm so sorry, I'm so angry. They forget that Rajiv Gandhi, when he had 413 in this parliament, when he was the master of the universe, he tried to bring in an anti-defamation law. What happened? 150 journalists walked on Rajpath, led by Ramnath Goenka. Everybody shut up. All the little chuas like Hansraj Bhardwaj didn't know where to hide. In fact, I will tell you a conversation that Arun Shourie had leading a delegation with Hansraj Bhardwaj, where Hansraj Bhardwaj said, don't be so rude to me. I used to practice in your father's court in Rohtak. And Arun Shourie said, this much law, even you should understand, a Mufassil lawyer from Rohtak. Right? And everybody shut up. So what is this great fear? In fact, that is my fear, that, we are now driving ourselves into it. We are coming, come put me on a leash, come put me on a leash. I'm afraid of going out. And that's happened because of various reasons. We have a bad conscience, and we've really grown too big for our boots. And to understand this, you have to divide the problem. Because as my professor, my old professor, Steve Cohen, used to say when he taught us strategic studies, he used to say the problem with nations is the same as the problem with many individuals. Sometimes you look at the mirror and you make faces. Then you get scared by what you see. And then you start acting in fear. That's happening to the media right now. And divide this problem into two. I think there are two very different problems between print and television. The problem with print, from where I come, is a straightforward one. Too many of us and too many organizations, so there's no point saying I'm not doing it, someone else is doing it. Too many of us are doing paid news, and too many of us are doing sponsored news. Too many of us are doing theme pages, for example. Is that paid news? It may not be paid news, but if a product has color green or blue, today all my stories are green and blue, but today half my stories are also on how to use, how the quality addition that product makes to my life, purified water, for example, is important for me. So if I carry 6 stories like that, it is dishonest, it is paid news. So in print, the problem is paid news, sponsored news, etc., etc. On TV, the problem is quite the opposite. On TV, the problem is that many of our anchors, from being inquisitors, it's okay to hold inquisitions. They become judge executioners. So everything becomes a great mythology, and everybody starts believing the same mythology. And you start wagging your finger, you bloody so-and-so, how dare you? And then you feel very strong and powerful. Apne ghar mein kutta bhi share hota hai, since I started with dogs. Then the politician goes back and says, INB ministry may do this, and you have this application pending. Then you go with your tails between your legs. Then you say, regulate me, regulate me, regulate me, regulate me. So one day you go to Anna Hazare's stage and say, I am with you. Fantastic, everybody applauds. Next day your application goes to I&B, then you send SMSs to Ambika Soni saying, ma'am, I stopped that story, I had that story. And then Ambika Soni praises you. I mean, I got this revelation when I was chairing the CII committee, CII interaction with Ambika Soni last year for captains of television media. And I was caught into this because I was that year chairman of the CII committee on the media, subcommittee on the media. And I found a half dozen owners of TV channels, news channels, owners and editors-in-chief saying, ma'am, see, I stopped that story, I sent you an SMS. Ma'am, I stopped that story, sent you an SMS. And Ambika Soni said, well done. So I had to be diplomatic, but there is a limit to which I can be diplomatic. So I said, you people are being very stupid because today you have a decent minister. I mean, she was our guest. Tomorrow you might have a thug in this job. And the thug will demand that you send him or her these SMSs and wait for her answer. So don't do it. So don't pull the cap onto your heads. That's precisely what's happening with the media. We are pulling the cap onto our heads. We are pulling that leash around our necks. Both print and TV have bad conscience. Print has bad conscience because we are dishonest. The bulk of us, the leading members of our community, are dishonest and thugs and thieves. On the TV side, we think we are masters of the universe. We run this country. I listen to TV anchors whose basic GK, they will not pass any competitive examination which has an iota of GK, right? I had Amir Khan last week on his show say the DDT has been banned for 50 years, right? He called me to say, why is the Express critical of us? I said, did you hit DDT on Google? Hit DDT on Google. Ban on DDT was lifted by WHO and US Environmental Protection Agency in 2006 for what? For use in human habitations, not just on your vegetables, because it's the only thing that stops mosquitoes. 2006 UN and US EPA have both lifted the ban. Now nobody in the media has hit DDT Google because it's very easy to pick up. Now mythologies get built up and we get scared, quite frankly, old-fashioned editors. We get scared and we make mistakes. For example, the Adarsh land was never meant for Kargil widows. If the whole mythology has been built, I find respectable columnists are saying land for Kargil widows. I find every TV anchor saying land for Kargil widows. It was never meant for Kargil widows. You think Kargil widows, 510 soldiers died in Kargil. I counted 372 widows, right? Bulk of them are Uttarakhand, in villages of Rajasthan, villages of Haryana, villages of Kerala. You think we're going to go move into Kaf Parade to live there? This was never land meant for Kargil widows. But the whole mythologies got built up. All of us are scared of questioning that mythology. And when somebody comes with facts, as facts will come, people will come at us with facts, we'll not know where to hide. So that is what is happening. I think we are just, Nayanan, if I may object to the basic idea of doing these brainstorms, I think we're playing into the hands of the establishment for no reason. There is no threat to the media except from ourselves. From our greed, mostly on the print side, and just from our bloated egos and limited intellect on the TV side. And really, complete lack of modesty amongst all of us. I'll tell you, I go through security checks at airports, and CISF fellows say, sir, aapko check kyun karna hai? And I said, no, but your home minister insists on getting checked, so frisk me. And then they tell me stories about so-and-so, and now I have a collection, and one day I'll put it on YouTube, because I now know the power of social media. I have a collection which my friends, sub-inspectors at CISF have sent me of well-known TV personalities shouting and screaming at them, saying, how dare you touch me, don't you know who I am? It's all on CCTV because they've got cameras right there. I have a collection. I'll put it on YouTube and list myself for NASDAQ. I'll do very well because these are very famous people. How can journalists get so arrogant? I got a call one day at 7 o'clock in the morning from some guy in Tel Aviv. कौन हो? साहब आप यहाँ पे हमारे रेस्टोरेंट में आए थे और मैंने आपको खाना खिलाया था, मैं वेटर हूँ यहाँ पे. ऐसा so what can I do for you? ये सर मेरी नौकरी खत्म हो गई, मैं इंडिया वापस आ रहा हूँ, तो आप एक काम कीजिए, आप जरा अमर सिंह जी को फ़ोन कर दीजिए, वो मुझे एक प्लॉट दे दें तो मैं एक फैक्ट्री खोल लूँगा. So I said, well, how is it possible? How can I I mean, sometimes it's difficult to get your sense of humor at 7 a.m. But I said, how can I call Amar Singh and get you? ऐसे नहीं होता है. अच्छा सर, फिर ऐसा है कि इंडस्ट्रियल प्लॉट मुश्किल है, तो एक मुझे ना रेजिडेंशियल दिला दीजिए, मैं घर बना लूँगा. Now, people have begun to think that we journalists can get these things done, and also that in the course of our normal lives, we do get these things done. So that is why, I'll take one more minute, that is why our real threat is now coming from our arrogance, our incompetence, our greed. I mean, I always say never ascribe to a conspiracy what can be simply explained as sheer incompetence. We are the most incompetent profession in this country. Right now, you open most newspapers, you watch any TV channel, you see it. So we have to self-correct. We don't have to go any place else, because where do our freedoms come from? This thought came to my mind at that little discussion when Ambika Soni was present. Our freedoms don't come from any laws. The article of the Constitution that gives us our freedoms gives anybody their freedoms, right? Our freedoms come from two factors. One, from the emergency. After the emergency, people of India said, oh, these guys are useful, their freedoms were taken away, we shall never allow these freedoms to be taken away. So as a result of the emergency, a social contract came into being. That guarantees us our freedoms. The second thing, because of that social contract, in many subsequent cases, Supreme Court took a very liberal view of our freedoms, of the intention of the framers of the Constitution. So our freedoms got expanded and institutionalized a great deal. Today, because of our, again, arrogance, incompetence, and greed, that social contract is getting frayed. That's why you find, and you can go back, you can put a time frame to it, say from about 2007, 8 onwards, as governments have become weaker in India, and people have become more and more of sort of puffed up paper tigers, you found journalists being laughed at in popular media. In every movie, a journalist is a goof, right? In so many entertainment channels, funny shows, a journalist is a joker. It was never the case in the past. People life happened much after this. So one, that social contract is fraying. And second, the judiciary is getting impatient with us, which is not a nice thing. Again, I had this realization 3 years back when there was a Gujar agitation in Rajasthan, and the same visual of one policeman beating 2 protesters was shown over and over and over and over again. And the presumption was that led to perception of much greater atrocities by police and led to riots and trains being stopped. And Supreme Court asked for a committee to be set up on regulating the media. And that committee was set up in the INB ministry with the INB secretary as the member. I was also named a member. Fali Nariman was a member. Pranay was a member. Sanjay Gupta was a member. At the first meeting, in fact, I told all my colleagues from the media, listen, this is a committee eminently worth sabotaging. Because it's the first time in India's history that Supreme Court is trying to regulate our freedoms instead of expanding them. We've done something seriously wrong. We will introspect, but we will not let this committee function. And we did not let this committee function by simply absenting ourselves. That committee has completely lost its way. Supreme Court's mercifully forgotten about it. Like all government committees, it's now hidden somewhere. But we have to start worrying about these things because, you know, we feel very important when people greet us at airports. I find people feeling really unwanted if for 5 minutes somebody doesn't recognize them in a public place, right? But the same people are getting very irritated and very angry. I saw the day before yesterday, I saw one English channel saying now scientists will reach God. I found a Hindi channel the same day saying the mountain in Tirupati is now going to part and Lord Balaji will disappear inside it. And so scientists of IIT Madras and Indian Institute of Science are now working with the CERN project to make sure this doesn't happen. I mean, most viewers, readers, listeners know we are bullshitting. And as we do it, you know, they might like us as comedians or entertainers, but they are developing a new contempt for us, which we have to worry about. Our problem is not the government and definitely not this parliament. The 2 paper tigers I saw this morning, they can do nothing to us. They can do no harm to us. Maybe tomorrow if somebody comes with 400 seats, we'll worry about the government. So I think let's worry about ourselves and let's look within because the correctives are all there.